Eh? Why my money being cut? There must be a problem. I need to go to see the boss. Assalamualaikum, boss.
Salam.
I'm just wondering why there is reduction in my pay slip.
Can you see it?
Take a look.
What is your name?
Oh, you don't know? My name is Ismail.
Okay, Ismail. You see here it says EPF or KWSP.
Okay. I'm so confused right now. Can you explain a little bit more about EPF?
Okay. EPF or KWSP is a pension fund that is required by law for every Malaysian citizen to have.
Oh, okay.
To explain more to our confused workers, we have our own EPF advisor.
Hi, I'm
Eh?
Amir. I'm the EPF advisor.
Okay.
So right now we have a very confused workers. Ismail is very confused between commercial banks and pension funds. So I'm going to explain what is commercial banks do first. So what does commercial banks do? So they accept deposits, make business loans, and offers basic investment product. So second is pension fund. Pension fund is a retirement fund that invests pool of money on employees' behalf. So that is why Ismail finds that there is a reduction in his payslip.
Oh, now I understand about EPF. But boss, may I know how these two different entities can promote growth to our country? I'm so confused right now.
Okay, so Ismail, was it? You see, when commercial banks or pension funds get money from the people, they are able to lend it out through loans in terms of commercial bank, or pension funds, they are able to invest it in terms of equity. So what happens is that more people will have more money in their own business. When commercial banks loan out money to people, the people can use the money to increase their productivity. So what happens is a country would increase their productivity and the economy would grow and would develop as well. In case of pension funds, they usually have stakes in a lot of companies, top 30 companies in Malaysia for example, and what happens is these companies have the additional capital for them to increase their own productivity and for them to increase their own growth as well. So when all the productivities are increased in the country, the aggregate supply of the country is increased as well. So what happens then? These people who loan their money out through banks, or people who keep their monies in KWSP or EPF, they get their return of investments. So they would have more money in the long run, and they would have more money to buy more things. However, this wouldn't cause inflation because the money is given out in a long period of time through returns of investment, as stated when they sign on to contracts, KWSP or commercial banks itself.
So I'm going to use the most simple example that many Malaysians know. For commercial banks, the biggest commercial banks in Malaysia is Maybank, and for pension fund, the biggest pension fund in Malaysia is EPF. Currently, their market capitalization for Maybank is 700 billion ringgit, and EPF is currently managing wealth around 600 billion ringgit. So to take more detail about these things, these two entities, let's take a look at these details. So where do Maybank get their money from? First is the deposits from customers. Second is the investment account from customer. Third is the deposit from financial institution. Fourth is the borrowing and capital securities. And the last one is shareholders' equities. So this is Maybank's total liabilities and shareholders' equities for 2014 and 2015. As you can see here, deposits from customers make a significant contribution to Maybank. So the question is, how Maybank utilized the money? First, by loans, advances and financing. Second, financial investment portfolio. Third, cash and short-term fund. Fourth, statutory deposits with central bank. And the last one is deposits with financial institution. From the pie chart, we can see that Maybank used most of the money to give out loans, advances and financing. So we move our focus to Employee Provident Fund. EPF has 14.5 million members with more than 500,000 of employees contributing to the fund. In 2015 alone, EPF received almost 60 billion ringgit. So, the same question again. Where does EPF invest the money? So first, Malaysian government securities and equivalent. Second, loans and bonds. Third, equities. Fourth, money market instrument. And the last one is real estate and infrastructure. So here we come at a conclusion. Maybank and EPF doesn't share the same objective and the same kind of operation. So for confused workers like Ismail, we hope that this video can help him in the future. For more confused workers like Ismail, you should take a leap of faith or watch this next video.
A pension plan is a retirement savings plan where an employer maintains a fund on behalf of its employees for their retirement. The money in the fund is usually invested in long-term, low-risk growth investments. The plan is typically tax-deferred, which means the contributions made to the plan are not subject to income taxes, and in addition, the investment income of the retirement fund is also not taxed. Taxes are only paid once money is taken out of the fund in the form of retirement income payments. This tax advantage provides employees with a lucrative way to defer part of their current wages and salary to retirement savings where it can be used as retirement income. Generally, there are two types of retirement plans: defined benefit plans and defined contribution plans. A defined benefit pension plan is a more traditional, older style of pension plan where workers' retirement benefits are calculated and thus defined by a formula that takes into account their years of work at the company and their salary history. The employer controls the plan and the plan assets and guarantees that the employee will receive a certain amount of retirement compensation no matter what their performance was for the underlying assets in the plan. A defined contribution plan is the more modern type of pension plan. Most people are familiar with these types of plans through making 401k contributions. In these types of plans, the employee controls the amount contributed to the plan as well as how the funds are invested. Retirement benefits depend on how the fund assets perform and grow.
To enlighten more confused workers like Ismail, we have listed down the financial components and financial instruments for both pension fund institutions as well as commercial banks. In terms of financial components, we would see KWAP, KWSP, and the biggest commercial bank in Malaysia, which is Maybank. And for financial instruments, to have a more clearer view of the differences between both, we would compare Maybank and KWSP only. Now, we'll take a look at the financial components of pension funds in Malaysia, and we'll first see the financial components of EPF, also known as KWSP, and see what kind of sectors that they have holdings in. First will be CIMB Group, which is one of the largest banks in Malaysia, and then we have KPJ Healthcare Berhad, which is one of the largest private healthcare industry in Malaysia. We also have Malaysia Airports, in which KWSP has 12% holdings. We also have RHB Bank, another bank, and we have UMW Holdings Berhad, which is logistics in Malaysia, and we also have Tenaga Nasional, which is the energy industry in Malaysia. And from here we can see KWSP actually branches out to a lot of industries in Malaysia, healthcare, banking, logistics and transport, among all the other companies as well. They have stakes in the top 30 companies in Malaysia, and therefore making them one of the largest pension funds in the world, as well as the largest one in Malaysia itself. And we will also have another look at another pension fund in Malaysia, which is KWAP. And KWAP has stakes in a lot of industries as well, but most notably they are invested in over 23 funds focused on growth, buyout, infrastructure, secondaries and real estate. And all of these investments are spread all around the world, especially in developed regions as well as developing regions such as Malaysia and Africa. We will primarily take a look at the real estate that they have. This is one of their malls in London, UK, which is into Uxbridge, and they also own a building in Australia. This is the Australian Securities Exchange in Sydney. We also see that they also own the Integra Tower in Kuala Lumpur itself. This is one of the new landmarks in KL. And they also have another building in London, among many others. This is 88 Woodbridge. And now we will compare these two pension funds with the largest bank in Malaysia, which is Maybank, and we'll see what kind of financial components that Maybank has. Now from here we can see this is the total assets of Maybank as of 2014 and 2015. We can see that the largest component of it will be loans, advances and financing, which the banks have in terms of assets, and they also have financial investment portfolio and other assets as well. We now can see that this is the total liabilities. We have deposits from customers, deposits from placements of financial institutions, as well as borrowings. These are the total liabilities as of 2014 and 2015 itself, which numbers up to 600 billion plus ringgit. Now the banks also have other operating income. In terms of Maybank, we can see that they make a lot of money from fee income rather than investment income or other forms of income as well. So the total operating income would be as such. Now from here we can see that comparison between Maybank and pension funds in Malaysia, we can have a clearer picture of what financial components that these two types of institutions has, and we can see the difference between KWSP and KWAP. Next up, we'll talk about financial instruments of both entities, such as commercial banks like Maybank and pension funds like KWSP. Commercial banks focus more on securities and lend out loans. They also have other forms of loans such as property loans and other forms of financing, such as trade financing. They also invest in foreign government bonds and other forms of securities. Next is the money market instruments. In terms of, for example, Maybank's balance sheet, they have three components to it, and the components are Malaysian government securities, Malaysian government investment issues, as well as negotiable Islamic certificates of deposits. We will now take a look at financial instruments of pension funds in Malaysia, such as KWSP. Pension funds in Malaysia mainly invest on properties as well as equities, and they either sell in short term or develop and then sell their assets. They also give out financial injections for selected companies. For example, for Chengal Private Equity, they work as subsidiaries. For Plus Malaysia Berhad, they worked as associates, in which they worked towards having proper infrastructure as well as utilities. And with Battersea Power Station in the UK, they worked as joint ventures, in which they worked on the real estate investments in the UK itself. They also give out loans, advances, and other forms of financing, such as housing loans, personal loans, and staff loans. They also invest on the Malaysian government securities as well, and they also deposit with several financial institutions in Malaysia as well as outside of Malaysia. And the types of deposits that they have are time deposits, fixed deposits, murabaha commodity, and other forms of money market account. From here we can see that they actually have stakes in Malaysia as well as outside of Malaysia. For example, the deposits with the Bank of New York itself. And we can see that KWSP is actually diversifying their investment for them to better serve their customers.
Oh, thank you, boss, for your really great information. Now I really understand everything about EPF and commercial banks.
Alright, Ismail, but before you leave, I have a
what?
gift for you. This is our Edge advisor, and this is the Edge.
Who are you? You are the same person like EPF advisor.
Yes, I am.
Yes, we're trying to cut down costs because of the economic downturn. We fired our last advisor. So if you don't do your job, I'll give your job to him. Now you see that door? Please get out of my office. Okay.